Air France Flight 447. Paris to New York. 31,000 feet over Atlantic Ocean.
We have a master
273 passengers sleeping peacefully.
Confirming engine parameters
Sudden
fluctuating.
explosion rocks
Airspeed
the
holding
aircraft.
steady.
Catastrophic electrical fire in cockpit. Smoke everywhere. Flames consuming instruments. Then passengers hear words they'll never forget. I'm evacuating. God help you all. Captain falls from aircraft with parachute. First officer follows seconds later. Both pilots gone. Aircraft burning. Pilotless. Falling toward ocean. Everyone screaming. Praying. Accepting death. Flight attendant desperate, does anyone know how to fly? Then from seat 38F,
Family
the absolute
emergency.
last
Angel
row,
can
a
land
tired
anywhere.
woman in
If
hospital
people are
scrubs
dying,
stands
she'll
up.
get it down.
Call sign Angel. I'm coming. Nobody knew the exhausted surgeon was the most legendary pilot in Air Force history. Comment below, which country are you watching from? Subscribe for more incredible true stories. Emma Cross sat in seat 38F.
We have a master
Last
caution.
row of the aircraft. Right
Confirming
next to the
engine
bathrooms.
parameters fluctuating.
The
Airspeed
seat that
holding
doesn't
steady.
recline. The cheapest seat on Air France Flight 447.
I'm evacuating.
She didn't care.
God help you all.
Her eyes were half closed. Dark circles
You
underneath
look
told a
exhausted,
story of
dear.
exhaustion.
Long shift at the hospital.
36 hours
You're a
without
nurse.
sleep.
Surgeon.
Maybe more.
Cabin
She
pressure
wore
warning.
wrinkled green
Brace for
hospital
impact.
scrubs under an old
Keep your
cardigan.
heads down!
Her dark hair pulled back in a messy
Please,
bun.
God, save us.
No makeup.
You look exhausted,
tired.
dear. Long shift
In
at
her
the
lap
hospital.
sat a medical journal about
You're a
pancreatic
nurse.
cancer treatments.
Surgeon.
She'd read the same paragraph 5 times without understanding a word. Her mind was elsewhere.
I'm coming.
New York.
Family
Her sister
emergency.
Rebecca.
Angel can land anywhere.
8 years of
If people are
silence.
dying, she'll get it down.
8 years of anger. The coffee in her hand was terrible. Airplane coffee always was. But she drank it anyway. She was 42 years old but looked 50 right now. She'd come straight from a 14-hour liver transplant surgery at a Paris hospital. The patient was a 47-year-old father of 3. Advanced cirrhosis. His family had given up hope. But Emma fought for 6 hours to repair what seemed unrepairable. The man's wife had kissed Emma's hands in the recovery room. You gave me my husband back. Emma had smiled tiredly. He's strong. He fought hard. But she hadn't told them about her own trembling hands during the surgery. The microseconds of doubt. The fear that her exhaustion would cause a mistake. She'd scrubbed out, grabbed her overnight bag from her locker, and headed straight to the airport. No time to rest. No time to change into normal clothes. No time to process the surgery or decompress. Because her sister was dying. The same cancer that killed their mother 8 years ago. And Emma was flying to New York to save her. Even though Rebecca hated her. Even though they hadn't spoken in 8 years. Even though Rebecca might refuse treatment when she saw Emma's face. Emma had to try. The other passengers didn't look at her twice. The businessman in 38E was typing furiously on his laptop. Probably closing some deal. He'd glanced at Emma once when she sat down, registered, tired medical worker, and went back to his spreadsheet. The elderly woman across the aisle smiled kindly at Emma. You look exhausted, dear. Emma managed a small smile. Long shift at the hospital. You're a nurse. Surgeon. Oh my. You must be very dedicated. Flying right after surgery. Emma looked out the window at the darkness. Family emergency. The woman nodded sympathetically and didn't ask more questions. They had no idea who she really was. They didn't know that 15 years ago, Emma Cross was one of the most famous pilots in the United States Air Force. They didn't know her call sign, Angel. They didn't know she'd flown 89 humanitarian missions into war zones and disaster areas. They didn't know she'd saved an estimated 12,000 lives. They didn't know she'd earned her call sign by landing under hostile fire in Somalia to deliver medicine to 400 dying children. They didn't know other pilots called her the one who lands anywhere if people are dying. They didn't know she'd been recommended for the Distinguished Flying Cross 3 times. They didn't know commanding officers called her first when missions seemed impossible. They didn't know her aircraft bore the painted silhouette of an angel on the fuselage. They didn't know she'd landed on bombed runways, muddy fields, mountain strips where the margin of error was measured in inches. And they definitely didn't know that in 90 minutes, she would be the only thing standing between them and death in the Atlantic Ocean. But first, you need to understand how Angel was made. And how Angel fell. Emma joined the Air Force at 22. Aerospace engineering degree. Top of her class at University of Michigan. But she didn't want to design aircraft. She wanted to fly them. Her father had been a commercial pilot. Died in a crash when Emma was 12. Small regional jet. Mechanical failure. 23 people killed including the crew. Everyone expected Emma to hate flying after that. Instead, she was drawn to it. Dad loved flying, she told her mother. He said being a pilot meant taking care of people. Getting them home safe. I want to do that too. Her mother had cried. But she understood. Flight school was tough. Especially for women back then. This was the late 1980s. Female pilots were still rare. People doubted you. Questioned whether you belonged. Made comments about whether women had the right temperament for flying. Emma proved them wrong within months. Top scores in navigation. Top scores in emergency procedures. Top scores in instrument flying. Her instructors said she had a feel for aircraft. That intuitive understanding of how metal and wind work together. How to listen to what the plane was telling you through slight vibrations, subtle sounds, small changes in handling. She could sense problems before instruments showed them. Feel stalls before they happened. Predict how aircraft would respond in turbulence. It was like the plane spoke to her. And she spoke back. During advanced training, her class faced a simulation. Engine fire during takeoff. Visibility near zero. Crosswinds exceeding safe limits. Instructor expected everyone to abort. Emma didn't abort. She executed the takeoff perfectly. Managed the fire. Navigated through impossible conditions. Landed safely at alternate airport. Afterward, the instructor asked, "Why didn't you abort?" Emma looked confused. The mission was to deliver medical supplies to field hospital. Wounded soldiers waiting. Aborting meant they might die. I could complete it safely, so I did. The instructor stared at her. Most pilots would have chosen the safer option. Safety isn't always the same as safe outcomes. Sometimes the risky option is actually safer for the people depending on you. That philosophy would define her entire career. She chose the C-130 Hercules. A massive 4-engine cargo plane. Not glamorous like fighter jets. Not fast or sleek. But essential. The C-130 delivered supplies. Transported troops. Flew into impossible places. Emma loved it immediately. The first time she took controls of a C-130, it felt like coming home. This huge aircraft. This flying truck. This workhorse that went anywhere, carried anything, landed everywhere. Perfect. Her first real humanitarian mission changed everything. Somalia, 1994. Civil war raging. Famine killing thousands. Aid organizations trying to deliver food and medicine. But local militias were shooting at aircraft. Too dangerous. Most pilots refused the missions. 23-year-old Lieutenant Emma Cross volunteered. "There's a village with 400 children sick from epidemic," her commander said. "We have the medicine. But the airstrip is just a dirt field in hostile territory. Armed fighters everywhere. 3 pilots already declined. Emma didn't hesitate. I can land it, sir. Why do you want this mission? Because those kids will die without the medicine. And I can reach them. Her commander studied her. Young. Confident. Determined. You understand this is voluntary? You could be killed. I understand, sir. But those children will definitely die if nobody flies. At least I give them a chance. He approved the mission. 2 days later, Emma and her crew flew into Somalia. Her co-pilot was a veteran named Marcus Webb. 10 years older than Emma. Combat experience in Desert Storm. He was terrified. This is suicide, Lieutenant. Emma stayed calm. We're saving 400 lives. Focus on that. As they descended, gunfire erupted from below. Bullets hitting the fuselage. Distinct metallic pings. Like hail on a tin roof. Warning lights flashing. Her co-pilot screaming to abort. We're taking fire. Pull up. But Emma saw the landing strip. Rough dirt. Barely long enough. Bordered by burned vehicles. And people waving white cloths. Desperate. Waiting for medicine. Mothers holding sick children. Aid workers with empty medical kits. She saw their faces even from altitude. We're landing, Emma said calmly. Emma, this is insane. Those are people, Marcus. Not tactical considerations. People who need us. I'm landing. She came in steep. Faster than normal. Had to clear the terrain. Hard bounce on dirt. The C-130 shuddered. Protested. But held together. Emma reversed thrust. Full braking. Using every inch of that strip. They stopped with maybe 50 feet to spare. Marcus was shaking. We're on the ground. We're actually on the ground. Emma was already unbuckling. 8 minutes to unload. Then we leave. The loadmasters threw open the cargo bay. Local aid workers rushed aboard. Grabbing boxes of medicine. Antibiotics. Oral rehydration salts. Basic supplies that would save hundreds of lives. Bullets occasionally zipped past. Distant. But getting closer. Emma stood at the cargo door. Counting boxes. Making sure everything got off. A local doctor grabbed her hand. Tears in his eyes. Thank you. Thank you. The children. Get that medicine distributed fast. We have to go. At exactly 8 minutes, clear. Go. Emma sprinted back to the cockpit. Marcus already had engines spooling. She slammed into her seat. Full power. The C-130 roared down that dirt strip. More gunfire. Closer now. A tire burst. The aircraft shuddered. Emma fought the controls. Compensating for the damaged tire. The uneven pull. Come on, beautiful. Fly for me. The aircraft lifted. Grudgingly. Heavily. Banking hard to avoid ground fire. Using terrain for cover. A bullet punched through the windscreen. Spiderweb crack. Air howling through the hole. But they were climbing. Safe. When they leveled off, Marcus stared at her with wide eyes. That was the most insane thing I've ever experienced. Emma shrugged. People needed help. We had what they needed. You didn't even hesitate. Bullets everywhere. Burning aircraft wreckage on the approach. You just landed like it was a training exercise. Wasn't about me. Was about those children. Marcus was quiet for a moment. I've flown with a lot of pilots, Emma. You're different. Different how? You don't fly for glory or medals or to prove something. You fly because people need you. That's rare. Word spread through the squadron. The young lieutenant who flew into hostile fire to deliver medicine. Who landed in impossible conditions. Who didn't hesitate when lives were at stake. 2 weeks later, her commander gave her a call sign. Call signs in the military are chosen by your squadron mates. Based on personality, actions, or sometimes just random events. They gathered in the briefing room. Emma had no idea what was coming. Her commander stood. Lieutenant Cross, your squadron has voted on your call sign. Emma stood nervously. Call signs could be embarrassing. Humiliating. Inside jokes. They're calling you Angel. Emma felt tears. Angel? Marcus stood up. Because you fly into hell to deliver miracles. You land anywhere if people are dying. You bring hope where there's none. That's what angels do. The room erupted in applause. Emma wiped her eyes. I don't deserve. You earned it, her commander said. Angel suits you perfectly. For the next 16 years, that's exactly what she did. Haiti earthquake relief. Pakistan floods. Philippines typhoons. Syrian refugee crisis. African famines. Southeast Asian tsunamis. Anywhere disaster struck, Angel flew. She became the go-to pilot for impossible missions. Get Angel became the automatic response when a mission seemed too dangerous. She landed on bombed runways in Afghanistan. Delivered supplies while mortar fire landed nearby. She landed on muddy fields in Bangladesh during monsoons. Conditions that should have been impossible. She landed on mountain strips in Nepal where the margin of error was measured in feet, not hundreds of feet. She flew through sandstorms in Iraq. Through typhoons in the Philippines. Through volcanic ash in Indonesia. Other pilots watched her in awe. How does she do it? They'd ask Marcus. He'd smile. She doesn't think about herself. Only about the people who need her. That clarity makes the impossible possible. She was promoted to captain. Then major. Awards accumulated. Commendations. Recognition. The Air Force wanted to promote her to lieutenant colonel. Put her in command positions. She declined. I want to keep flying. Keep delivering supplies. That's where I belong. Her crew trusted her completely. Especially Marcus, who flew with her for 8 years. They developed an almost telepathic understanding. He'd anticipate her decisions. She'd trust his instincts. He'd joke, "You're going to get us killed one day, Emma." She'd always reply, "Not today." They flew 89 missions together. Delivered supplies to 37 countries. January 12, 2010. Haiti. Massive 7.0 earthquake devastated Port-au-Prince. Emma was stationed at Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina. The morning the earthquake hit, she was in a briefing room watching news coverage. Buildings collapsed. People screaming. Dust everywhere. Chaos. Conservative estimates, hundreds of thousands injured. Tens of thousands dead. The Haitian government basically collapsed. No coordination. No emergency response. Just desperate people dying in rubble. Emma stood. We need to fly relief missions. Now. Her commander nodded. Already authorized. We're sending 6 C-130s with medical supplies and surgical teams. You'll lead the first wave. Emma and Marcus prepped their aircraft immediately. Loading zone was organized chaos. Pallets of medicine. Portable surgical equipment. Water purification systems. Emergency generators. 5 volunteer doctors climbed aboard. Trauma surgeons. Anesthesiologists. Emergency physicians. They'd volunteered to set up field hospitals in Port-au-Prince. Dr. Sarah Chen. Dr. James Rodriguez. Dr. Michael Okonkwo. Dr. Lisa Park. Dr. David Goldstein. All experienced. All understanding the risks. Emma met them in the cargo bay. Conditions will be rough. Damaged runways. Potential aftershocks. We'll get you in safe. Dr. Chen smiled. We trust you, Major Cross. We've heard about Angel. Plus her regular crew, Marcus as co-pilot. Flight engineer Thomas Wright. 3 loadmasters, Sergeants Johnson, Martinez, and Williams. 12 people total. Emma did her pre-flight inspection personally. Checked every system. Every gauge. Every surface. The C-130 was in perfect condition. They took off at 0600 hours. 4-hour flight to Haiti. Emma briefed everyone during cruise. Port-au-Prince Airport is damaged but operational. Tower might not be functioning. We'll need visual approach. Aftershocks are expected. Stay secured until we're fully stopped. The doctors were excited. Nervous. Ready to save lives. Dr. Rodriguez asked, how many people do you think we can help? Emma calculated. You're setting up a field hospital for 500 patients. Conservative estimate, if you work 72 hours straight, maybe 300 patients. Many life-threatening injuries. Your work will save hundreds directly. Just like you save hundreds by flying us there. Emma smiled. We're all on the same mission. Different roles. Same goal. The approach to Haiti was routine. Emma had done this hundreds of times. Visual approach to damaged airfield outside Port-au-Prince. She could see the devastation from altitude. Buildings flattened. Smoke rising. Roads destroyed. But the makeshift runway looked operational. Military engineers had cleared debris. Marked it with lights. Established basic communication. Emma lined up perfectly. Descended smoothly. Wheels touched down gentle. Perfect landing. She began braking. Standard procedure. Everything normal. Then the aftershock hit. 6.1 magnitude. Nobody predicted it. The ground didn't just shake. It moved. The runway literally split open beneath the aircraft. Emma felt it through the controls. The sudden drop. The wrongness. A crevasse opened directly under the main landing gear. The C-130 dropped 10 feet into the gap. Landing gear sheared off instantly. Metal screaming. Aircraft belly slamming hard ground. Fuel tanks ruptured from the impact. Fire erupted immediately. Aviation fuel ignites at 800 degrees. The aircraft was moving at 60 knots when the runway collapsed. Momentum carried them forward. Grinding. Sparks everywhere. Emma fought the controls. But without landing gear, she had no steering. No braking. They slid 300 feet. Metal screeching. Fire spreading. Marcus shouting her name. Emma. Emma. The flight engineer screaming into radio. Mayday. Aircraft down. Fire. The cargo bay filling with smoke. Emma remembers the sound of metal screaming. The smell of burning fuel. The heat. The impact had slammed her against her harness. She felt ribs breaking. Sharp pain. Smoke filling the cockpit. Can't breathe. Can't see. Fire alarm blaring. Systems failing. Instruments going dark. She tried to unbuckle. Couldn't. Hands not working right. Shock setting in. Then hands grabbed her. Marcus. His face through the smoke. Come on. Move. He pulled her harness release. Dragged her from the seat. She fought him. Screaming. The crew. The doctors. Emma, we have to go. Now. He pulled her through the shattered side window. The explosion had blown it out. She fell hard on dirt. Couldn't breathe. Ribs broken. Everything pain. Marcus landed beside her. Grabbed her under the arms. Dragged her away from the burning wreckage. Emma fought him every step. Screaming. Marcus. The crew. Go back. The fire's too big. Emma, stop. Stop. He held her while she struggled. Both of them coughing. Covered in soot and blood. 20 feet away. 30 feet. 40. The C-130 was completely engulfed now. Orange flames. Black smoke. Heat like a furnace. Emma could hear screaming from inside the aircraft. Her crew. The doctors. Trapped. She tried to run back. Marcus held her. Emma, no. You'll die. They're dying. Let go. You can't save them. It's too late. She collapsed. Sobbing. Watching the aircraft burn. Knowing Marcus was inside. No. Wait. Marcus was holding her. Not inside. But the flight engineer. The loadmasters. The doctors. All inside. All burning. All dying. Military firefighters arrived within minutes. But it was too late. The fire burned for 40 minutes before they could approach. When it finally died, they recovered 7 bodies. Flight engineer Thomas Wright. Age 34. Wife and 2 kids. Sergeant Johnson. Age 29. Engaged. Sergeant Martinez. Age 26. Single. Sergeant Williams. Age 32. Husband of 3 years. Dr. Sarah Chen. Age 41. 2 teenage daughters. Dr. James Rodriguez. Age 38. Father of 4. Dr. Michael Okonkwo. Age 45. Recently became grandfather. Dr. Lisa Park. Age 33. Newlywed. Dr. David Goldstein. Age 51. 30 years of medical service. 9 people total died that day. Emma and Marcus were the only survivors. Emma, broken ribs. Second-degree burns on hands and arms. Smoke inhalation. Marcus, separated shoulder. Minor burns. Psychological trauma. But alive. Emma lay in the field hospital. Heavily medicated. But conscious. They showed her the bodies being loaded for transport home. 9 flag-draped coffins. 9 people who trusted her. 9 families destroyed. Because she was pilot in command. Her responsibility. Her failure. The nightmares started immediately. Every time she closed her eyes, the runway splitting. The fire. The screaming. Marcus holding her back while people burned. The investigation took 3 weeks. FAA investigators. Air Force investigators. Haitian officials. They analyzed everything. Black box recordings. Maintenance records. Seismic data. Witness statements. Final report, no pilot error. Unforeseeable seismic event. Aftershock unpredicted by all monitoring systems. Major Cross executed perfect landing and proper emergency procedures. Nothing she could have done to prevent this tragedy. Cleared completely. Commendations for attempting rescue despite injuries. Medal for Marcus for saving her life. But Emma knew the truth. 7 people trusted her to get them there safe. She failed. Doesn't matter that an earthquake caused it. Doesn't matter that nobody could predict it. She was pilot in command. Her aircraft. Her crew. Her responsibility. She failed. 3 weeks after the crash, still in the hospital, Emma submitted her resignation from the Air Force. Her commander came personally. Colonel Davidson. Mentor for 10 years. He sat beside her hospital bed. Emma, the investigation cleared you. It wasn't your fault. 7 people are dead, sir. 9 total. I was in command. An earthquake caused this. Not you. I should have, her voice broke. I should have done something. Seen something. Something. What could you have seen? Seismologists didn't predict that aftershock. Equipment didn't detect it. You flew perfectly. Landed perfectly. Nature killed them, not you. Emma looked at her scarred hands. I can't fly anymore, Colonel. I can't be responsible for lives in the air. I can't fail again. You didn't fail. 9 people are dead. She was crying now. 9 people who trusted me. Who believed I'd get them home safe. I delivered them to their deaths. You delivered them to save thousands of Haitians. And they died instead. Colonel Davidson was quiet for a long time. What will you do? Emma looked at her bandaged hands. I spent 16 years delivering doctors to save people. 16 years being the angel who flies into disasters. She met his eyes. Now I'll become the doctor. Save people directly. Never fly again. Never risk more lives in the air. He saw the pain. The finality. The broken determination. He accepted her resignation. Emma Cross left the Air Force at 38. 16 years of service. 89 missions. 12,000 lives saved. Over. Call sign Angel. Retired. Buried with the crew that died in Haiti. Someone asked what she'd do now. Emma looked at her scarred hands. The hands that flew through impossible conditions. The hands that couldn't save her crew. I'll become the person I spent 16 years delivering. I'll be the doctor instead of the pilot. Save lives on the ground instead of in the air. Medical school at 38. Most classmates were 23. 15 years younger. Full of energy and ambition. They asked why she started so late. Career change, Emma said simply. She never told them about the Air Force. About being Angel. About 90 missions into disaster zones. About her crew dying. She never told them about Marcus screaming. About fire consuming her aircraft. About failing the people who trusted her. She just said she wanted to help people. Medical school was brutal. Especially for someone approaching 40. Classes designed for 23-year-olds with perfect memory and endless energy. Anatomy. Biochemistry. Pharmacology. Pathology. Hours of memorization. Mountains of information. But Emma studied 16 hours a day. Used the same discipline that made her top of flight school. Top of her medical school class. Every patient saved would balance against the 9 she lost. She specialized in trauma surgery. Emergency procedures. Critical interventions. Where seconds mattered. Where skill meant life or death. Just like flying into disaster zones. Different vehicle. Same mission. She became Dr. Emma Cross. Trauma surgeon in Paris. Chose Paris deliberately. Far from Air Force bases. Far from memories. Far from anyone who knew about Angel. Fresh start. New identity. Different life. She saved hundreds of lives over 4 years. Became known for staying calm under pressure. For making difficult decisions quickly. For never hesitating when patients' lives hung in the balance. Other surgeons asked about her background. You handle stress like military. Were you a medic? Something like that, Emma would say. Never elaborated. Never mentioned the 16 years flying C-130s. Never talked about the call sign she once carried with pride. As far as anyone knew, she was just a late-career surgeon who was very good under pressure. They didn't know about Angel. And Emma wanted it that way. Because Angel had failed. Angel got her crew killed. Angel needed to stay buried. For 4 years, she kept that promise. Never flew. Never touched aircraft controls. Never went near military bases. Never risked being responsible for lives in the air again. Until tonight. Until Air France Flight 447 started burning at 31,000 feet. Until 273 people needed a miracle. And only Angel could deliver it. Emma and Rebecca were close once. Sisters. Best friends. 3 years apart. Emma the responsible older sister. Rebecca the free-spirited younger one. Their mother raised them alone after their father died in that plane crash. Money was tight. Their mother worked 2 jobs. Nights as a nurse. Days as a home health aide. But they were happy. Emma and Rebecca shared a bedroom until Emma was 18. Late-night talks. Shared secrets. Supporting each other. When Emma joined the Air Force, Rebecca was 19 and starting college. Emma sent money home every month. Helping with tuition. Helping with bills. You don't have to do this, Rebecca said. Yes, I do. You're my sister. Your education matters. Rebecca became a teacher. Elementary school. She loved it. They talked weekly, no matter where Emma was deployed. Afghanistan. Iraq. Somalia. Germany. Japan. Didn't matter. They stayed connected. Rebecca was Emma's anchor. The person who kept her grounded. Who reminded her of life outside military service. Emma was Rebecca's hero. The big sister who flew into war zones to save lives. Who had a call sign. Who was brave and strong and unstoppable. Until their mother got cancer 8 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. The same kind Rebecca has now. Their mother, Sarah Cross, was 62 when diagnosed. Stage 4. Aggressive. Poor prognosis. But she fought. Chemotherapy. Radiation. Experimental treatments. Emma visited between deployments. Spending her leave time at the hospital. Holding her mother's hand during treatments. Rebecca was there full-time. Taking leave from teaching. Becoming primary caregiver. 6 months into the battle, their mother was failing. Doctors said maybe a week left. Maybe less. Emma was in Afghanistan. Preparing for a humanitarian mission. Remote refugee camp. 200 starving children. Militant groups blocking aid deliveries. No other pilot would take it. Too dangerous. But Emma had committed. Rebecca called on January 15, 2014. You need to come home. Mom's failing. The doctors say maybe a week left. Maybe less. Emma looked at the mission brief. The photographs of skeletal children. The desperate requests from aid organizations. Becca, I can't abandon this mission. These kids will die without supplies. I don't care about those kids. Rebecca screamed. Mom is dying. Your mother. The woman who raised you. I'll come as soon as the mission ends. 3 days maximum. 3 days. She might not have 3 days. Please. I can't do this alone. I need you here. Emma closed her eyes. 200 children who would definitely die without this mission. One mother who might die in the next few days. The mission was already planned. Supplies loaded. Route established. Clearances obtained. If she backed out now, they'd have to find another pilot. Could take weeks. The children would be dead by then. I'm sorry. I have to do this first. These kids have nobody else. But I promise I'll be there in 3 days. Don't bother. Rebecca hung up. Emma stared at the phone. Torn. Devastated. But she'd made a commitment to those children. She flew the mission. Landed under hostile fire. Delivered the supplies. Saved 200 children from starvation. Returned 3 days later, exactly as promised. Her mother died the night before she arrived. January 17, 2014. 11:47 p.m. Rebecca was alone at the hospital bedside. Holding their mother's hand. Emma arrived at 6 a.m. the next morning. Still in flight suit. Drove straight from the base. Rushed into the hospital room. Too late. Her mother's body still in the bed. Rebecca sitting beside it. Red-eyed. Exhausted. Alone. Becca. Rebecca stood. Walked past Emma without a word. Left the hospital. Emma stood there. Looking at her mother's peaceful face. Too late. Failed her. Just like she'd fail her crew 6 years later. The funeral was 3 days after. Emma arrived in her dress uniform. Awards and ribbons displayed. The professional soldier attending her mother's burial. Rebecca wouldn't look at her. Not during the service. Not during the burial. Not during the reception. Emma tried to approach. Rebecca walked away. At the cemetery, after everyone left, Emma waited. Rebecca stood at the grave. Silent. Emma approached carefully. Becca, I'm so sorry. I thought I had time. You chose them over her. Rebecca. You chose strangers over your own mother. 200 kids you'll never meet over the woman who raised you. Those children would have died. I don't care. Mom died alone because you were being a hero somewhere else. I held her hand while she took her last breath and asked for you. Emma's tears fell. I thought she'd live another week. She called for you, Em. In her last hours. She asked where you were. I had to tell her you were on a mission. She smiled. Said, that's my Emma. Saving the world. She was proud even while dying alone. I'm sorry. You had time to choose. You chose duty over family. You chose your call sign over the woman who sacrificed everything for you. Please, Becca. I will never forgive you. Never. We're done. Don't contact me. Don't come to my house. Don't send letters. We're done. Rebecca walked away. That was 8 years ago. 8 years of silence. Emma sent letters. Rebecca returned them unopened. Emma called from different numbers. Rebecca blocked them all. Emma sent Christmas cards. Birthday cards. Returned. Emma showed up at Rebecca's wedding 2 years later. David seemed kind. Loving. Security escorted Emma out at Rebecca's request. The guests whispered. Who was that? Bride's estranged sister. She wasn't invited. Emma stood in the parking lot. Watching through the window as Rebecca danced with her new husband. Beautiful. Happy. Moving forward. Without Emma. The message was clear: stay away. Emma accepted it. Maybe Rebecca was right. Maybe she chose wrong. Their mother died alone because Emma was being angel. Because she prioritized strangers over family. Because duty mattered more than the woman who raised her. Maybe she deserved the silence. The loss. The punishment. So Emma buried herself in medical school. Then surgical residency. Then hospital work. Didn't try contacting Rebecca anymore. Accepted the permanent estrangement. Focused on saving lives in surgery. Balancing the scales. Every patient saved another small redemption. But she never forgave herself. Until 3 days ago. David called. Rebecca's husband. The man Emma had only seen through a wedding reception window. Emma. This is David Chen. Rebecca's husband. Emma's heart stopped. Is Rebecca okay? No. She has cancer. Pancreatic. Stage 4. The same cancer that killed their mother. Genetic. Aggressive. Usually fatal. There's an experimental surgery. Very risky. Very few surgeons can do it. Only 3 in the world, actually. 1 in Houston. 1 in London. 1 in Paris. Paris? Your name came up. Dr. Emma Cross. Trauma surgeon. Specialist in high-risk pancreatic procedures. The oncologist says you're one of the best. Maybe the best. Emma sat down heavily. David, Rebecca doesn't want to see me. I know. She told me about what happened. About your mother. About the estrangement. She'll refuse if I'm the surgeon. Maybe. Probably. But I'm asking anyway. She's my wife. Mother of my children. I can't lose her. Emma looked at the surgical textbook on her desk. Pancreatic cancer protocols. She'd been studying them for a different patient. The surgery has a 40% mortality rate even under optimal conditions. Better than 0% without it. She'll be angry. She might refuse treatment entirely when she sees me. I know. But you're her only real chance. The Houston surgeon is booked for 6 months. The London surgeon won't take cases this advanced. You're it. Emma closed her eyes. 8 years of silence. And now Rebecca needed her. The sister who hated her. Who blamed her for their mother's lonely death. Who cut her out of her life completely. But family is family. And Emma had failed Rebecca once already. She wouldn't fail again. I'll be on the next flight. She doesn't know I called. I haven't told her. I understand. She's going to be angry. Really angry. I know that too. But I'm coming anyway. Emma booked the emergency ticket to New York. Only seat available, 38F. Last row. Non-refundable. Expensive. She didn't care. She'd just completed a 14-hour liver transplant. Should rest. Should sleep. But Rebecca needed her. So she grabbed her overnight bag. Still in scrubs. No time to change. Drove straight to Charles de Gaulle Airport. And now here she was. Seat 38F. Flying through the night. Trying to mentally prepare for the surgery. For the reunion. For Rebecca's inevitable rage. Would Rebecca even let her in the room? Would Rebecca refuse the surgery out of spite? Would this be Emma's final chance to save her sister and fail again? She had no idea that in 90 minutes, none of that would matter. Because in 90 minutes, everyone on this aircraft would be dying. An angel would have to fly one final time. The question wasn't whether she could save Rebecca. The question was whether she could save everyone. Hour 2 of the flight. Most passengers asleep. Cabin lights dimmed. Emma was dozing. Exhausted from the surgery. From the emotional weight of flying to Rebecca. Dreaming about Marcus. They were in the C-130. Flying over Afghanistan. He was telling a terrible joke about a pilot and a camel. Emma was laughing. Then the scene shifted. Haiti. The runway. The earthquake. Ground splitting beneath them. Marcus screaming her name. Fire everywhere. The loadmasters burning. The doctors burning. She was trying to reach them but her hands wouldn't work. Bang! Emma jolted awake. That sound. Explosion. Not normal. Not turbulence. Not structural stress. Explosion. Her pilot instincts kicked in instantly. 16 years of training activating automatically. The cabin lights flickered. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then she smelled it. Burning electronics. Melting plastic. Ozone. Electrical fire. Emma sat up straight, suddenly completely awake. Other passengers were stirring. Confused. Looking around. What was that? Did we hit something? Are we okay? Flight attendants moved toward the front. Fast. Urgent. Professional smiles plastered on but eyes showing concern. Something was very wrong. Emma's training screamed warnings. Electrical fire in aircraft. One of the worst emergencies. Spreads through wiring. Can't be isolated easily. Consumes cockpit instruments. Disables critical systems. Within 90 seconds, smoke seeped from the front cabin. Thin wisps at first. Gray. Acrid. Then thicker. Darker. Toxic. Passengers started noticing. Murmuring. Coughing. The businessman next to Emma looked up from his laptop. Is that smoke? Emma didn't answer. She was analyzing. Smoke from forward cabin. Probably cockpit. Electrical systems. Fire spreading through instrument panels and wiring bundles. Those fires moved fast. Very fast. If not controlled in minutes, they consumed everything. Melted controls. Disabled hydraulics. Made aircraft unflyable. A flight attendant rushed past. Young woman. Maybe 25. Trying to look calm. Failing. Emma grabbed her arm gently. What's happening? The attendant tried to smile. Failed. Small problem. Please stay seated. I'm a doctor if there's a medical emergency. It's not medical. Please. Stay seated. The attendant hurried away. Emma watched smoke getting thicker. Spreading through cabin. Passengers coughing now. Putting shirts over mouths. This was bad. Really bad. Then the captain's voice came over the PA. But not the usual calm pilot voice. Not the reassuring professional tone. This voice shook with terror. Pure, unfiltered panic. Ladies and gentlemen. A pause. Like he was trying not to scream. We have a catastrophic electrical fire in the cockpit. Spreading through instrument panels. We cannot control it. Gasps throughout the cabin. People sitting up. Looking around frantically. Mothers grabbing children. Couples holding hands. The elderly woman across from Emma whispered, "Oh God. The smoke is overwhelming. We're losing systems. Flight controls compromised. I'm activating emergency cockpit evacuation protocol." Emergency evacuation. Emma's blood froze. She knew what that meant. The Airbus A320 had explosive bolts built into the cockpit windscreen. In case of uncontrollable fire or rapid decompression, pilots could blow out the windscreen and bail out with parachutes. Almost never used. Emma had never heard of it being used on a commercial flight. If they're using it now, the fire must be catastrophic. Completely out of control. Seconds from reaching something critical. God forgive me. I'm so sorry. The captain's voice broke. He was crying. God help you all. The PA cut off. 3 seconds of complete silence. Everyone processing what they just heard. Then, boom. Explosive bolts detonating. Passengers on the left side screamed. Pointing at windows. Emma leaned over the businessman to see out the window. A figure falling past the aircraft. Tumbling through night sky. Man in flight suit. Arms spread. Parachute deploying. White canopy blossoming against darkness. The captain. Bailed out. Abandoned the aircraft. 30 seconds later, another boom. Quieter. From higher up. Another figure falling. Smaller. The first officer. Her parachute opening. Drifting away into darkness. Both pilots gone. Aircraft pilotless. On fire. Over the Atlantic Ocean. 1,200 miles from land in any direction. The cabin erupted in panic. People screaming. Crying. Praying. We're all going to die. Somebody do something. Where are the pilots? They left US. They left US to die. Mothers holding children. Sobbing. Saying goodbye. The elderly couple across the aisle holding hands. Eyes closed. Accepting death. Teenage girls in the back hugging each other. Crying. A man recording video on his phone. If anyone finds this, tell my family I love them. Emma sat frozen. Both pilots evacuated. Fire must be catastrophic. Completely out of control. The aircraft had maybe 15 minutes before fire reached something critical. Hydraulic lines. Fuel systems. Flight computers. Then everyone dies. 273 people. Unless someone could fly. Emma looked at her hands. Hands that flew C-130s for 16 years. Hands that landed in impossible conditions. Hands that saved 12,000 lives. Hands that failed 9 people in Haiti. Hands she swore would never touch aircraft controls again. She thought about Rebecca in New York. Dying of cancer. If Emma died tonight, Rebecca died too. No surgery. No second chance. No forgiveness. No resolution after 8 years of silence. She thought about the young mother in row 22. Traveling with a baby. Maybe 6 months old. That baby would die. Never grow up. Never have a chance. The elderly couple holding hands. Accepting death together after probably 50 years of marriage. They would die. Everyone would die. Unless someone flew. And Emma was the only one who could. For 4 years she'd hidden from being Angel. Safe on the ground. Operating rooms instead of cockpits. Never responsible for lives in the air. But Angel wasn't a job. Wasn't a call sign. It was who she was. Core identity. Fundamental nature. You don't stop being Angel. You just stop flying. And right now, Angel was the only thing between 273 people and death in the Atlantic. Emma unbuckled. Stood up. Her legs shaking. But she walked forward. Past screaming passengers. Past crying children. Past people praying. Toward the burning cockpit. Toward the impossible. Toward being Angel one final time. Patricia Moreau had been a flight attendant for 20 years. Started at age 23. Worked her way up to senior attendant on international routes. She'd handled emergencies, medical crises, severe turbulence, passenger fights, even an attempted hijacking 7 years ago. But never both pilots abandoning the aircraft. Never a situation where everyone was going to die. She stood in a galley watching smoke pour from the cockpit. Flames visible through the partially open door. Orange and yellow. Dancing. Consuming. Heat intense even from here. 20 feet away and she could feel it. The aircraft was still flying. Autopilot holding course and altitude. But that fire was spreading. She could hear it. Crackling. Roaring like a living thing. Maybe 10 minutes before it reached critical systems. Then the aircraft would become unflyable. Fall from the sky. Everyone would die. Patricia picked up the PA handset. Hands shaking. She'd trained for this. Sort of. Emergency announcements. Keeping passengers calm. But not for this. Not for, both pilots are gone and we're all going to die. Ladies and gentlemen, I need your attention immediately. Her voice shook. Everyone heard it. The fear she couldn't hide. Both pilots have evacuated due to fire. We're currently on autopilot. But we need help urgently. Is there anyone on board with flight experience? Any pilots, current or former military? Please identify yourself immediately. Silence. Just crying and praying and panicked breathing. Patricia walked through the cabin. Row by row. Business class first. Usually wealthy passengers. Maybe private pilots. Can you fly? Sir. Ma'am. Anyone? A businessman in seat 3A raised his hand nervously. I have a flight simulator at home. Microsoft Flight Sim. I've practiced landing this exact aircraft type. Actual flight experience, sir. Real aircraft. Have you flown a real plane? His face fell. No. Just the simulator. Thank you anyway. An elderly man in seat 5C spoke up. I was Air Force. Vietnam. Flew F-4 Phantoms. But that was 60 years ago. My hands shake now. My eyes are bad. He held up trembling hands. Severe arthritis visible in the joints. Patricia touched his shoulder gently. Thank you for your service, sir. She continued through economy. A woman in her 30s. I took flying lessons. Got my private pilot license. But I've only flown Cessnas. Small propeller planes. Nothing like this. How many hours? 45 total. I stopped after getting licensed. That was 8 years ago. Patricia's heart sank. 45 hours in small planes wouldn't help with a commercial jet. Thank you. Nobody else. 273 passengers. Nobody who could fly this aircraft. The smoke was thicker now. Spreading through the cabin. Passengers coughing. Some vomiting from the acrid smell. Children crying. Parents trying to comfort them while tears streamed down their own faces. Patricia returned to the galley. Trying not to cry herself. All these people. She thought about her grandchildren. 3 beautiful kids. Ages 5, 7, and 9. She'd never see them again. Never watch them grow up. Never go to their graduations. Never meet their future spouses. Never. I can fly this aircraft. Patricia spun. A woman stood there. Early 40s. Hospital scrubs under a cardigan. Messy hair pulled back. Dark circles under exhausted eyes. Looked like she hadn't slept in days. What? The woman's voice was calm. Steady. Absolutely certain. I can fly it. I'm a pilot. Air Force. C-130 Hercules cargo planes. 16 years of service. I'm a surgeon now, but I know how to fly. Patricia stared. This tired woman in wrinkled scrubs? Are you sure? This is an Airbus A320. It's completely different from military cargo. Different from C-130. I know. Different systems. Different handling. Different everything. The woman stepped closer. Her eyes were intense. Focused. But the principles are the same. Aerodynamics don't change. Flight controls work the same way. And I'm your only option. Something in her eyes. Solid. Unshakable. Like she'd seen hell before and walked through it. This woman had faced death. And won. What's your name? The woman moved toward the cockpit without hesitation. Dr. Emma Cross. But in the Air Force, they called me Angel. Patricia felt hope for the first time since the pilots evacuated. Angel. Even the call sign sounded like salvation. Angel walked toward the burning cockpit like it was routine. Like walking into fire was just another Tuesday. Calm. Focused. Ready. Patricia followed. The fire is really bad. Really intense. I know. I've been in burning aircraft before. Pain in her voice. Deep pain. Memory of something terrible. But also determination. Steel core of resolve. Emma grabbed a fire extinguisher from the emergency station. When I go in, close the cabin door behind me. Keep the smoke from spreading to the passengers. They need breathable air. You'll be trapped in there. I'll be fine. I've done this before. Done what? Flown a burning commercial aircraft? Emma looked at Patricia. Small sad smile. Fought fire while flying. Lost before. Won't lose today. She pulled her cardigan over her mouth and nose. Took a deep breath. Grabbed the cockpit door handle. Heat radiated through the metal. Hot enough to burn. Emma didn't flinch. Opened the door. Heat blasted out like opening an oven. Wave of scorching air. Patricia stepped back involuntarily. Emma walked straight into the flames. Into the inferno. Into hell itself. Patricia pulled the door closed behind her. Stood there for a moment. Hands shaking. Then she picked up the PA again. Her voice was different now. Stronger. Hopeful. Ladies and gentlemen. We have a pilot. Former Air Force Major. Call sign Angel. She's taking control of the aircraft now. Please remain calm and follow all safety instructions. The cabin quieted slightly. A pilot. Someone who could fly. Hope. Patricia began preparing the cabin for emergency landing. Because if Angel was as good as she seemed, they might actually survive this. The heat hit Emma like a physical blow. She'd been in burning aircraft before. Haiti. Her C-130 going down in flames. But this was worse. The windscreen was completely gone. Blown out by explosive bolts when the pilots ejected. 400-knot wind howling through the opening. Papers flying everywhere. Debris swirling. Charts, checklists, everything not secured becoming projectiles. Smoke so thick she could barely see 3 feet ahead. Flames dancing across the instrument panels. Melting plastic dripping like candle wax. Wiring bundles exposed and burning. Sparking. Creating more fires. Heat intense enough to burn exposed skin immediately. Emma pulled the emergency oxygen mask from its panel. At least she could breathe. She emptied the fire extinguisher on the worst flames. White foam spraying. Temporarily suppressing the fire. Bought herself 90 seconds. Maybe. She dropped into the captain's seat. Too tall for her. No time to adjust it properly. She scanned instruments through the smoke and flames. Most displays were dead or dying. Melted. Shorted out. But backup instruments still worked. Altitude, 29,000 feet. Slowly descending. Speed, 340 knots. Heading, 270 degrees. Due west. Straight across Atlantic. Autopilot struggling but holding. Fuel, 2 hours remaining at current consumption. Nearest land, Azores Islands. 800 miles. Emma did the mental math instantly. Can't make it. Fire will kill them first. At current spread rate, maybe 12 minutes before fire reaches hydraulic systems. Maybe 15 before it reaches fuel lines. Then catastrophic explosion. Only option, water landing. In darkness. In the Atlantic Ocean. In 30-foot swells. She'd done water landings in simulators. Every military pilot trained for it. But never for real. Never in a burning aircraft she'd never flown before. Never with 273 lives depending on her. Emma reached for the radio with already blistering hands. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Air France Flight 447. Both pilots evacuated. I'm a passenger taking control. Former Air Force pilot attempting emergency water landing. Static. Then shocked voice from air traffic control. Air France 447, did you say both pilots evacuated? Affirmative. Emma coughed through smoke. This is Dr. Emma Cross, former C-130 pilot, call sign Angel. Cockpit catastrophic fire. Maybe 10 to 12 minutes before it kills everyone. I need vectors for optimal water landing location. Long pause. Probably talking to supervisors. Checking if this was real. Angel, nearest land is Azores. 800 miles. You won't make it. I know. Calculate optimal rescue location. Get every ship and aircraft you have to that position. I'm ditching in the Atlantic. Another pause. Angel, do you have experience ditching commercial aircraft? No. But I'm all they have. Either I try or 273 people die. Those are the options. Silence. Then different voice. Senior Controller. Angel, this is Control Supervisor Davies. Entire Atlantic Emergency Network is listening. Scrambling rescue assets now. Give us 12 minutes and we'll have ships and aircraft at your position. I'll give you 15 if I can. But this fire is winning. Captain Cross, the whole world is listening. Bring them home. Emma stared at flames inches from her face. Feeling the heat. The pain. I'm going to try. Angel out. She released the radio. Gripped the controls. And began fighting for 273 lives. The fire kept coming back. Every time Emma beat it down with wet cloths and the last of the extinguisher foam, it surged up again. Electrical fires are relentless. Fed by damaged wiring. Spreading through insulation. Finding new fuel constantly. She fought with one hand while flying with the other. Patricia brought wet towels from the galley. Emma wrapped them around her hands. Helped for maybe 30 seconds before the heat soaked through and her palms started blistering again. But she couldn't stop. Systems were failing one by one. Navigation display melted into slag. Gone. Communications partially dead. Radio crackling. Intermittent. Landing gear indicators destroyed. She'd have no idea if gear was up or down. Hydraulic pressure fluctuating. Fire getting close to the lines. She was flying on backup instruments and memory. And 16 years of experience that she tried to forget. The cockpit door was damaged from the fire. Wouldn't close properly. Smoke seeping into passenger cabin despite Patricia's efforts. Passengers could see everything through the gap. This woman in scrubs fighting flames with one hand while flying with the other. Some were filming on phones. Recording what they thought would be their final moments. Others praying. Crying. Saying goodbye to loved ones via text messages. A young mother approached the cockpit. Baby in her arms. Maybe 6 months old. Are you really going to save us? Emma didn't look away from instruments. I'm going to try with everything I have. Now get back to your seat and secure your baby. Life vest on. We're landing in ocean in approximately 15 minutes. The woman's face went white. Ocean? We're crashing into the ocean. Not crashing. Landing. Controlled. There's a difference. Now go. Secure your child. The woman stumbled back to her seat. Emma keyed the barely functional PA. This is Dr. Emma Cross. I'm flying this aircraft. I was an Air Force pilot for 16 years. Call sign Angel. I flew humanitarian missions into war zones and disaster areas. Landed in conditions most pilots would refuse. Her voice stayed calm despite flames. Despite smoke. Despite her hands burning. Today I'm landing this aircraft in the Atlantic Ocean. In darkness. It's going to be rough. Very rough. But we will survive. She paused. Let that sink in. Flight attendants, prepare for emergency water landing. Life vests on everyone. Brace positions practiced. Remove sharp objects. Secure all loose items. Another pause. Everyone else, life vests on but do not inflate until outside the aircraft. Brace positions when I call them. Follow attendant instructions exactly. She released the button. I'm bringing us down in 12 minutes. I've never done this before. But I've never failed when people needed me. She added quietly, just to herself, not again. Never again. Behind her in the cabin, Patricia and the other attendants moved efficiently. Distributing vests. Explaining brace positions. Demonstrating inflation. The panic decreased. Not gone. Still fear. Still crying. But people had something to do. Had clear instructions. Had hope. They had Angel. Emma just had to deliver. While her hands burned and fire consumed the cockpit around her. At 15,000 feet, Emma descended through clouds. New voice on radio. Different frequency. Military. Air France 447, this is Navy Strike Fighter 201. Flight of 2 F/A-18 Super Hornets. We have visual contact. We see your aircraft. We see the fire. Emma glanced out the destroyed windscreen. 2 fighter jets alongside. Maybe 200 feet away. Gray shapes against dark sky. Navigation lights blinking. Navy 201, I'm Dr. Emma Cross, former Air Force Major, C-130 pilot, call sign Angel. Pause. Longer than expected. Angel? The Angel? From Somalia missions? Haiti relief? Emma's throat tightened. That was me. Civilian now. I need you to light up the ocean surface. Coming down in approximately 8 minutes. Angel, entire strike group heard about your crew in Haiti. About what happened. Honored to assist. We'll illuminate with flares and guide you in. You're getting every resource the U.S. Navy has. The fighters pulled ahead. Emma continued descent. Hands working constantly. Fighting fire with wet cloths. Adjusting controls. Monitoring dying instruments. At 8,000 feet, she disengaged the failing autopilot. Took full manual control. The aircraft responded sluggishly. Hydraulics partially failed from fire damage. Controls mushy. Delayed response. Like flying through mud. Emma adjusted her grip. Feeling what the plane needed through the yoke. Same as C-130. Same principles. Listen to what the aircraft tells you. The F divided by a -18s dropped illumination flares ahead. Brilliant magnesium light. Ocean lit up like daytime below. Emma's heart sank. Waves 30 feet high. Rough seas. Storm conditions. This was going to be violent. Much worse than she'd hoped. She configured for ditching. Calling up memory from training. From simulations she'd done decades ago. Flaps, partial. Full flaps might break on impact with waves. Landing gear, up. Gear down would catch water and flip the aircraft. Nose, slightly up for flare. Speed, as slow as possible without stalling. She was doing this from memory and theory. Never actually ditched before. Nobody really practices water landings. Too dangerous. At 1,000 feet, fire won a major victory. Main hydraulic line burned through. Hydraulic fluid spraying. Feeding the fire. Controls went even mushier. Maybe 30% effectiveness. Aircraft wanting to roll right. Emma fighting it constantly. Both hands on yoke now. Can't fight fire anymore. Just fly. At 500 feet, individual waves visible. Massive swells rolling. White caps. Storm-tossed sea. At 200 feet, Emma committed to the approach. No going around. This was it. She keyed PA1 last time. Brace, brace, brace. Head down. Arms overhead. Now. At 100 feet, descending toward a wave crest. Wind buffeting. Aircraft shaking. At 50 feet, pulling nose up to flare. Bleeding off speed. Too fast and they'd cartwheel. Too slow and they'd stall and drop. At 20 feet, belly touched wave top. Then ocean hit them like concrete. The violence was beyond anything passengers expected. Aircraft slammed water at 120 knots. Fuselage flexed. Groaned. Metal screaming. But held together. Nose dug into a wave. Bounced up. Skipped like a stone across the surface. First impact, passengers thrown forward against harnesses. Overhead bins bursting open. Luggage flying. Debris everywhere. Screaming. Metal tortured. Second impact, harder. Aircraft bouncing higher. More screaming. Someone's arm broken. Seats tearing loose. Third impact, nose down. Tail up. Aircraft settled in water. Began floating. A320s are designed to float briefly after ditching. Air trapped in fuselage provides buoyancy. But water was rushing through the blown-out windscreen. Flooding the cockpit. Emma in the captain's seat was hit by a wall of freezing seawater. Knocked unconscious briefly. Came to underwater. Freezing. Dark. Choking. Salt water in her mouth. Her lungs. She pulled herself up gasping. Coughing. Water waist deep and rising fast in the cockpit. She grabbed the PA handset. Waterlogged but still working. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. All exits. Inflate life vests outside the aircraft only. Move now. She tried to exit through the cockpit door. Her leg wouldn't move. Something pinning it. Debris from the instrument panel. Heavy. Metal. Water rising. Chest deep now. Emma tried to lift the debris. Too heavy. Wedged tight. The aircraft was sinking. Maybe 5 minutes before it went under completely. Patricia waded into the flooded cockpit. Water to her shoulders. Dr. Cross. Come on. Legs pinned. Get out. Save yourself. Not leaving you. You saved us. Now move over. Patricia grabbed the debris with desperate strength. Mother of 2. Grandmother of 3. Not letting Angel die. Not after everything. Together they pulled. Heaved. Strained. The metal shifted. Came free. Emma's leg pulled loose. Pain shooting through. Maybe broken. But free. Both women stumbled toward the emergency exit. Water pouring in everywhere now. The aircraft tilting. Sinking stern first. They reached the exit. Passengers already outside on inflatable slides. Emma collapsed into a life raft. Semi-conscious. Hypothermic. Patricia collapsed beside her. Shaking from cold and adrenaline. We made it, Patricia whispered. We actually made it. Emma lay in the raft looking at stars through gaps in clouds. Thinking about Marcus. About her crew who died in Haiti. I brought them home this time, she whispered. 7 I couldn't save in Haiti. But 273 I did tonight. We're even now, Marcus. We're even. She lost consciousness. Around them in darkness, 273 passengers floating in life rafts and individual vests. Children crying. Adults comforting. Everyone alive. The Navy helicopters were already there. 4 MH-60 Seahawks. Searchlights sweeping. Rescue swimmers dropping. Coast Guard cutters approaching at full speed. The F divided by a -18s circling overhead. Dropping flares. Maintaining communications. Rescue coordinator on radio, all souls accounted for. 273 passengers. 9 crew. All alive. Repeat, 0 fatalities. The news spread across rescue frequency. Then across military networks. Then across the world. Air France Flight 447. Both pilots evacuated. Passenger took control. Former Air Force pilot. Call sign, Angel. Ditched in Atlantic. Storm conditions. Darkness. Every single person survived. 0 fatalities. The first rescue swimmer reached Emma's raft. Dr. Cross. Major Cross. Angel. Emma was barely conscious. Everyone okay? Everyone's alive, ma'am. All 273. You saved them all. Good, Emma whispered. Can't fail again. Won't fail again. She passed out. The rescue swimmer lifted her into the helicopter hoist. Patricia grabbed his arm. Take care of her. She's a hero. Ma'am, the whole Navy knows who she is. We'll take care of Angel. Within 2 hours, all 273 passengers and 9 crew members were aboard Navy and Coast Guard ships. Warm. Safe. Alive. The Air France aircraft sank 30 minutes after the last person evacuated. Gone. Resting at the bottom of the Atlantic. But everyone survived. Because Angel flew one final time. Emma woke on a Navy hospital ship. The USS Comfort. Floating hospital. Full medical facilities. She was in a private room. Monitors beeping. 4 in her arm. Oxygen mask on her face. Bandages on her hands and arms. Heavy. Thick. A Navy doctor sat beside her bed. Commander. Medical officer. Dr. Cross. Welcome back. You've been unconscious for 3 days. 3 days. Emma tried to speak. Throat raw. Damaged from smoke. Did everyone make it? The doctor smiled. Wide. Genuine. All 273 passengers and crew members were rescued. 0 fatalities. You saved every single person. Emma closed her eyes. Relief flooding through. Everyone. Every single person. Not like Haiti. Not like Marcus and the crew. Everyone lived. Your hands, the doctor continued. 2nd-degree burns. Extensive smoke damage to your lungs. Possible nerve damage in your fingers from the heat exposure. We're concerned about your ability to perform surgery in the future. Emma looked at her bandaged hands. Hands that flew through fire. Hands that fought flames while landing an aircraft she'd never flown. Hands that might never perform surgery again. How bad? We don't know yet. The burns are healing. But nerve damage, it's unpredictable. You might regain full sensation. You might not. Fine motor skills required for surgery might be compromised. Emma processed this. For years building a surgical career. Saving lives in operating rooms. Balancing the scales against Haiti. Possibly over. But 273 people were alive. Then my hands don't matter, she said quietly. I'd burn them again to save those people. Without hesitation. The doctor nodded. You're a remarkable woman, Major Cross. Dr. Cross. I'm civilian now. Ma'am, the military doesn't care. You're a hero. Again. Over the next week, Emma's hospital room filled with visitors. Patricia came first. Brought flowers. Cried. You saved my life. Saved everyone. I have 2 daughters. 3 grandchildren. I'll see them again because of you. Emma squeezed her hand. You saved me too. Pulled that debris off my leg. We saved each other. The other flight attendants came. Bringing cards signed by every passenger. Messages of gratitude. Prayers. Promises to name babies after her. You're a miracle worker. You're an angel. You gave us our lives back. Sarah Martinez came. The young mother with the baby. The baby was sleeping peacefully in her arms. Her name is Emma now, Sarah said. We changed it. Emma Grace Martinez. After you. The angel who saved her life. Emma cried. First time since waking up. I'm honored. She'll know your story. Know what you did. Know that angels are real. The elderly couple came. Holding hands like they did on the aircraft. 52 years married, the husband said. We thought it was over. You gave us more time together. However many years we have left, we have because of you. The teenage girls came. A school group. Returning from exchange program in Paris. You're the bravest person we've ever met. We want to be pilots now. Because of you. Can we take a picture with you? Emma smiled through tears. Of course. The Navy pilots who escorted her came. The F/A-18 crews. Major Cross, we knew the call sign Angel. Read about your missions. But seeing you land that burning aircraft in storm conditions, that was the most incredible flying we've ever witnessed. We dropped flares from 200 feet. Saw the whole thing. The way you handled those waves. The precision. That was art, ma'am. The strike group wants to give you honorary call sign in Navy registry. Angel is now a Navy call sign too. Cross-service. Only person to ever have that. Emma was overwhelmed. I don't deserve. Ma'am, you ditched a burning commercial aircraft you'd never flown before in 30-foot swells at night and saved 273 lives. You deserve everything. Air Force officers came. Her former squadron mates. Some she hadn't seen in 4 years. Since Haiti. Since she resigned. They saluted. Even though she was civilian. Major Cross, the Air Force wants to reinstate you. Promotion to Lieutenant Colonel. Flight instructor position. Teaching others to be like Angel. Emma shook her head. I appreciate it. But I'm done flying military. Then civilian consulting. Airlines want to hire you. Flight safety instructor. Emergency procedures expert. I'll think about it. But the visit she feared most hadn't come yet. Rebecca. Day 8 in the hospital. Emma was sitting up. Reading reports about the ditching. French aviation authorities. American NTSB. Everyone investigating. Preliminary finding, pilot actions were heroic and saved all lives. No fault attributed. Air France publicly thanked her. Offered lifetime free flights. She declined. A knock on the door. Come in. Rebecca walked in. 8 years older than last time they'd been in the same room. Lines around her eyes. Thinner. The cancer visible in her frame. She saw Emma bandaged and burned. Broke down crying immediately. Em. Oh God, Em. She rushed to the bed. Collapsed in the chair. I heard what you did. Watched on news. Saw the videos passengers posted. Saw you fighting that fire while landing. Saw the interviews with people you saved. Emma stayed quiet. Let Rebecca talk. I was wrong, Rebecca sobbed. 8 years I was wrong. I blamed you for Mom dying alone. Called you selfish. Cut you out completely. She grabbed Emma's bandaged hand gently. But I understand now. You didn't choose strangers over Mom. You didn't choose duty over family. You chose to save lives because that's who you are. That's who you've always been. Tears streaming down her face. Angel doesn't refuse when people need her. Angel flies into hell to deliver miracles. That's not selfishness. That's who you are at your core. Emma's own tears started. I'm sorry I wasn't there when Mom died. I'm sorry I chose that mission over being at her bedside. Rebecca shook her head violently. No. Don't apologize. You saved 200 children that day. 200 families got to keep their kids because you flew that mission. Mom would have understood that. She did understand it. She asked for me at the end. She was proud. Even dying, even wanting you there, she was proud of what you were doing. I was too angry to see it then. But I see it now. Rebecca wiped her eyes. I'm sorry I was angry for 8 years. Sorry I shut you out. Sorry I made you think you failed her. You didn't fail anyone. The sisters embraced. Both crying. 8 years of silence. 8 years of pain. Broken. I came to do your surgery, Emma whispered. That's why I was on that flight. David called. Told me about the cancer. I was flying to New York to save you. I know. He told me after the crash. That you dropped everything. Came straight from a 14-hour surgery. Didn't even change clothes. But now my hands. We'll find another surgeon. What matters is you're alive. You're here. We're together again. They held each other for a long time. Family reunited. Air France released full findings 3 weeks later. Faulty wiring in an outdated electrical panel caused the catastrophic fire. The panel was scheduled for replacement in 2 months. Hadn't been flagged as urgent. Wiring overheated. Sparked. Ignited surrounding materials. Fire spread faster than suppression systems could handle. Within 90 seconds, the cockpit was fully engulfed. Captain Dubois and First Officer Martinez made the only decision possible: evacuate. Staying meant death within minutes. Fire would have reached fuel tanks. Everyone would have died. Air France investigators visited Emma. Captain Dubois wants to meet you. If you're willing. Of course. Captain Francois Dubois arrived with First Officer Maria Martinez. Both looking haunted. Guilty. They sat across from Emma's hospital bed. Dubois spoke first. Dr. Cross, we abandoned our passengers. We failed in our duty. We deserve to be. Emma stopped him. You made the only decision that gave anyone a chance to survive. If you'd stayed, you'd both be dead. The fire would have reached fuel tanks within 3 minutes. Everyone would have died in the explosion. She leaned forward. By evacuating, you kept the aircraft on autopilot. Maintained altitude and course. Bought time. You didn't abandon anyone. You couldn't finish the mission. But you enabled someone else to finish it. Martinez was crying. We heard the passengers screaming. We knew we were leaving them to die. You were leaving them with a chance. That's all any of us can do. You gave me the opportunity to land. You didn't fail. You handed off. Dubois looked at her with tears in his eyes. You're more gracious than we deserve. I'm a pilot. I understand impossible decisions. You made the right call. Both pilots left with slightly less weight on their shoulders. The media wanted Emma everywhere. Interviews. Talk shows. Book deals. Movie rights. She declined everything. I'm not a hero. I just did what needed doing. But the story spread anyway. Passenger videos went viral. Emma fighting fire with one hand while flying with the other. The calm voice over PA, I'm bringing us down in 12 minutes. The perfect water landing in storm conditions. 273 people saved. Air Force released statement, Major Emma Cross, call sign Angel, exemplifies the highest traditions of military service. Her actions saved 273 lives and brought honor to the Air Force. Navy gave her honorary commission. Made Angel an official Navy call sign. Commercial airlines offered positions. Flight safety consultant. Emergency procedures trainer. 7-figure salaries. Emma declined everything. I need time to figure out what's next. Her hands healed slowly over 2 months. Physical therapy. Range of motion exercises. Sensation testing. The nerve damage was permanent. Reduced sensation in fingertips. Fine motor control compromised. She could still perform surgery. But complex procedures requiring microsurgical precision would be difficult. Maybe impossible. Her surgical career was effectively limited. She'd saved 273 lives. But it cost her the career she'd built to replace flying. Rebecca visited Emma in Paris after both were released from hospitals. Rebecca had started chemotherapy. Experimental protocol. Different surgeon performed the operation. Successful. Cancer in remission. The sisters sat in Emma's apartment. Drinking tea. Talking like they used to. What will you do now? Rebecca asked. Emma looked at her scarred hands. I don't know. Can't do complex surgery anymore. Not with these hands. But I also can't go back to just being a pilot. I've seen both sides now. You saved hundreds as a pilot. Hundreds as a surgeon. Maybe it's time to decide which matters more. I don't think it's about choosing, Emma said slowly. I became a surgeon to replace being a pilot. To prove I could save lives even though I couldn't fly. Even though I failed in Haiti. She turned to Rebecca. But maybe I need to accept something. What? I'm Angel first. Doctor second. I tried to bury Angel. Hide from what happened in Haiti. But Angel isn't a call sign. It's who I am. Rebecca smiled. So what does Angel do now? The offers kept coming. Air Force, return to active duty. Promotion to Lieutenant Colonel. Training position. Navy, Cross-Service Commission. Flight Instructor. Commercial Airlines, Captain positions. Six-figure salaries. Medical schools, teaching positions. Trauma surgery instructor. Emma chose a different path. Doctors Without Borders. Flight surgeon position. She would fly with medical teams to disaster zones. Provide emergency surgery on site. Train local doctors. Combining both skills. Pilot and surgeon. Perfect synthesis of who she was. The organization was thrilled. You're exactly what we need. Someone who can fly into impossible places and provide medical care. You're unique. Emma accepted. 6 months after the Atlantic ditching, she was back in A320 Hercules. Co-pilot now, not pilot in command. Her choice. She wanted to focus on medicine with flying as secondary skill. First mission, Syria. Refugee camp. 300 injured civilians. No medical facilities. Emma flew with the team. Set up field hospital. Performed surgeries with damaged hands. Saved 37 lives in 48 hours. It felt right for the first time in years. 15 years after the Haiti earthquake that killed her crew. January 12, 2025. Emma was 57 years old. Still flying with Doctors Without Borders. Still performing surgeries in disaster zones. Hands more scarred. Body more tired. But purpose unchanged. Haiti had another earthquake. 6.8 magnitude. Not as bad as the 2010 disaster. But still deadly. Still devastating. Doctors Without Borders asked if Emma would fly the relief mission. Back to Haiti. Back to the country where she lost Marcus and her crew. Are you sure you want this? Her supervisor asked. We know your history there. We can send someone else. Emma looked at the mission brief. Field hospital setup. Surgical team. Critical supplies. Port-au-Prince. Same city. Same airfield. Rebuilt since 2010. I'm going, she said. The C-130 loaded with supplies and personnel. Emma in the co-pilot seat. Younger pilot beside her. 28 years old. Confident. Skilled. Major Cross, I've read about you. About the Air France ditching. About your 89 humanitarian missions. It's an honor to fly with you. Emma smiled. Just Emma. I'm civilian now. The flight to Haiti was quiet. Emma looking out at the ocean below. Thinking about Marcus. About her crew. They'd been dead for 15 years. But she still thought about them daily. Still dreamed about the fire sometimes. The screaming. The helplessness. You okay? The young pilot asked. I lost my crew here in 2010. This is my first time back. I heard about that. The earthquake. The runway collapsing. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago. They landed at Port-au-Prince without incident. The airfield rebuilt. Stronger. Better prepared. Emma stepped off the aircraft onto Haitian soil. First time in 15 years. A local doctor met them. Elderly Haitian man. Dr. Jean-Baptiste. Dr. Cross. I remember you. You flew the mission in 2010. You lost your crew saving my country. Emma was surprised. You remember that? Everyone remembers. You and your crew are honored here. There's a memorial. He drove them to the medical site. On the way, he stopped at a small park. A monument stood there. Bronze plaque. Emma read it. In memory of the American aircrew who died bringing hope, January 12, 2010. 9 names listed. Marcus. The flight engineer. The loadmasters. The volunteer doctors. And at the bottom. They flew into danger to save strangers. True heroes. Emma stood there. Tears streaming. Dr. Jean-Baptiste spoke quietly. The supplies you brought that day saved 300 lives. The doctors you were delivering would have saved thousands. Even though they died, their mission mattered. Your mission mattered. Emma touched Marcus's name on the plaque. I'm sorry I survived when you didn't. Don't be sorry, Dr. Jean-Baptiste said. You survived to continue the mission. Look at what you've done since. The 273 lives in the Atlantic. The hundreds more in disaster zones. You carried their mission forward. Emma worked in Haiti for a week. Set up surgical clinic. Treated earthquake victims. Trained local medical staff. Every life saved honored Marcus and the crew. On the last day, she returned to the memorial. Left flowers at the base. I'm still flying your mission, Marcus. Still being angel. Still bringing people home. She flew back to Paris feeling lighter. 15 years of guilt easing. Not gone. Never gone. But manageable. 2 years after the Air France incident, passengers created the Angel Foundation. Scholarships for people wanting to become pilots or emergency medical professionals. People who wanted to save lives like Angel did. Patricia Moreau ran it. The flight attendant who helped Emma. We've given 250 scholarships so far, Patricia told Emma over video call. 50 pilots. 200 medical students. All because of you. Because of all of us, Emma corrected. Everyone on that flight survived together. Sarah Martinez, the young mother whose baby was now named Emma, became an Air Force pilot. Following Angel's path. I'm applying to humanitarian airlift squadrons, she told Emma. I want to fly missions like you did. Save lives like you did. The teenage girls from the school group all went into healthcare or aviation. 3 became doctors. 2 became nurses. 1 became a pilot. You showed us what courage looks like, one told Emma. We want to honor that. The foundation held annual reunions. Every January 20th anniversary of the ditching. All 273 passengers invited. Most attended. They called it Second Birthday. The day Angel gave them new lives. Emma attended the 5th anniversary reunion. New York. Major hotel. Everyone gathered. Now with families. Children. New marriages. Achievements. All possible because they survived. Patricia gave a speech. 5 years ago tonight, we thought we were going to die. Both pilots gone. Aircraft burning. Over the ocean. She looked at Emma. Then a tired woman in hospital scrubs stood up. Said 6 words, call sign Angel. I'm coming. The room was silent. She walked into fire. Fought flames with one hand while flying with the other. Landed a burning aircraft in a storm at night. Something she'd never done before. Patricia's voice cracked. And brought every single one of us home alive. 273 people. 0 casualties. Because Angel doesn't fail when people need her. Standing ovation. Emma stood uncomfortable with the attention. I just did what needed doing. But Sarah Martinez stood. The young mother. Little Emma, now 5 years old, sitting beside her. You gave my daughter life. She exists because you didn't give up. The elderly couple stood. You gave us 5 more years together. We've traveled the world. Seen our grandchildren graduate. All because of you. One by one, people stood and shared. I got married because I survived. I had a child because I survived. I started the charity I'd always dreamed of because I survived. I reconciled with my family because I survived. Every life transformed because Angel flew that night. Emma looked around at all these people. Living. Loving. Building futures. All because she walked into that burning cockpit. 3 years after the ditching, Rebecca renewed her wedding vows. 10 years married. Cancer in remission. Life good. She insisted Emma be there. You flew through fire to save strangers. You're definitely coming to my vow renewal. The ceremony was in upstate New York. Beautiful vineyard. Sunset. Emma stood as Rebecca's maid of honor. The woman who'd been estranged for 8 years, now her closest confidant again. Rebecca's vows included, I promise to love you like my sister loves the world. Unconditionally. Selflessly. Willing to sacrifice everything to help others. She looked at Emma. Tears in her eyes. Emma taught me what real love looks like. Flying into fire to save people. Fighting impossible odds. Never giving up on people even when they give up on her. After the ceremony, Emma and Rebecca sat on the vineyard patio. Sisters. Together. Healed. Thank you for not giving up on me, Rebecca said. I'm your sister. That's not possible. Even when I cut you out. Returned your letters. Had security remove you from my wedding. Emma smiled. Especially then. Family doesn't quit on family. That's what you taught me. By flying that mission when Mom died. By flying to save me even though I hated you. By being Angel even when it cost you everything. Rebecca took Emma's scarred hand. These hands saved 273 strangers. And they saved me too. By showing me what love actually means. Emma was 61 years old. Still flying with Doctors Without Borders. 20 years since Haiti. 15 years since the Atlantic ditching. Hands more scarred. Body showing age. But spirit unchanged. Yemen. Civil war. Cholera outbreak. 3,000 people in refugee camps. No medical facilities. Emma flew the mission. Older now. Moving slower. But still capable. Set up field clinic. Trained local health workers. Performed emergency surgeries. Her young co-pilot was amazed. Major Cross, you're 61. When are you retiring? Emma smiled. When people stop needing help. That's never. Exactly. They treated 800 patients in 5 days. Vaccinated children. Delivered medicines. Performed 43 emergency surgeries. Emma's hands shook more now. The nerve damage from the Atlantic fire making fine motor control harder. But she adapted. Developed techniques. Found ways to do the work despite limitations. You should retire, other doctors told her. You've done enough. Saved enough lives. Earned rest. Emma disagreed. Angel doesn't retire. Angel finds new ways to deliver miracles. She mentored young pilots and doctors. Taught what she'd learned. Shared experiences. Showed them how to stay calm in crisis. The secret is simple, she told them. Don't think about yourself. Think about the people who need you. That clarity makes the impossible possible. Her story was taught in flight schools, medical schools, emergency response training. Call sign Angel. The pilot who saved 273 lives by flying a burning aircraft she'd never flown before. Then continued saving lives for another 15 years. But Emma never thought of herself as special. Just someone who couldn't say no when people needed help. 20 years after the Air France ditching. Emma was 70 years old. Finally considering retirement. Her hands could barely perform surgery anymore. Arthritis combined with old nerve damage. She could still fly as co-pilot. But younger pilots were better. Time to step back. Let others carry the mission. She visited the Air Force Museum. They had an exhibit about Angel. Her flight suit from C-130 days. The painted Angel logo from her aircraft. Mission logs from 89 humanitarian flights. And a section about the Atlantic ditching. The miracle of Flight 447. Videos from passengers. Patricia's testimony. Navy rescue footage. The museum curator recognized her. Major Cross. We're honored. This exhibit is our most popular. People come from all over the world to see Angel's story. Emma looked at her younger self in the photos. 20 years ago. Fighting fire. Landing in darkness. Saving lives. I'm just a pilot who did her job. You're a legend, ma'am. A school group entered. Teenage students. Aviation and medical programs. The teacher saw Emma. Gasped. Class, this is Dr. Emma Cross. Call sign Angel. She's the pilot in this exhibit. The students surrounded her. Can you tell us about the ditching? What was it like flying into fire? How did you stay calm? Emma smiled. Told them the story. Not as legend. As experience. The fear. The doubt. The burns. The determination. I was terrified, she admitted. But 273 people needed someone to try. I was the only one who could. So I tried. What if you'd failed? A student asked. Then I'd have failed trying my absolute best. That's all any of us can do. Another student, are you ever going to fully retire? Emma thought about it. Marcus and her crew in Haiti. The 273 passengers from Flight 447. Thousands of people in disaster zones over 35 years. Every life touched. Every mission flown. Every surgery performed. Angel doesn't retire, she said quietly. Angel just finds new ways to deliver miracles. She left the museum. Phone buzzed. Message from Doctors Without Borders. Earthquake in Turkey. Medical teams needed. Are you available? Emma looked at her arthritic hands. Her 70-year-old body. Her limited capabilities. Then she thought about people trapped in rubble. Injured. Dying. Needing help. She typed her response. Yes. When do we leave? Because you don't stop being Angel. You don't stop when people need you. You fly into hell itself. You sacrifice everything. You burn your hands and break your body. And you bring people home. Every single time. No matter the cost. No matter your age. No matter how many times you've already done it. Angel flies where people are dying. Angel lands anywhere if it means saving lives. Angel delivers miracles. And that never changes. Emma Cross boarded a plane to Turkey. 70 years old. Scarred hands. Tired body. But purpose burning bright as ever. Somewhere in Turkey, people were trapped. Suffering. Dying. An angel was coming. Because that's what angels do. They fly into darkness. They bring hope. They save lives. Forever. But Angel's story never really ends. Because somewhere in the world, right now, there's a disaster. People dying. Hope running out. Darkness closing in. And someone with a call sign is loading supplies. Checking aircraft. Preparing to fly into impossible conditions. Because they made a promise. Emma Cross flew through fire to save 273 lives. She burned her hands and risked everything. And if she had to do it again tomorrow? At 70 years old? With arthritic hands and a tired body? She wouldn't hesitate. Because once you're angel forever. Call signs don't retire. They just find new ways to deliver miracles. They just keep flying. Keep fighting. Keep saving lives. Until they can't anymore. And even then, they pass the torch. Because angel isn't a person. It's a promise. A promise to go where people are dying. A promise to try when others quit. A promise to sacrifice everything for strangers. Emma Cross kept that promise for 40 years. And somewhere, a young pilot is learning her story. Reading about the woman who walked into burning cockpit. Who fought fire with one hand while flying with the other. Who saved 273 souls from the Atlantic darkness. And that young pilot is making the same promise. To be the next angel. Because heroes don't die. They multiply. Comment below, what would your call sign be? Subscribe for more incredible true stories of courage.